Welcome back. You're listening to another episode of the Keep the Change podcast, and we've got a round two with Tama Singh at Tama Singh on Instagram, TikTok, and soon to be tamasingh.com.
Yes, that's right, mate.
Yeah.
Glad to be on here.
On the first episode, we discussed a bit about you, your backstory, what it is that you do, what you teach, why you're doing it, some of the deals that you've come across. But in this episode, I want to dig in and ask some of the questions that people sent in to Instagram, but also try and extract out some of the things that you're talking about in seminars. But I know that those are obviously full days. We're not going to be able to get through that in 30 minutes. But give people some of the things to understand, firstly, whether this is actually for them. Like, how do people know whether flipping property is their jam?
Flipping properties, obviously anything is risk involved, right? But at the same time, flipping, if you do it right, can give you large amounts of money in a short period of time. And when someone says flipping, they always go straight to the whole, 100K. I made 100K in the house. They think they got to make 100 grand.
Yeah.
But what we do is we operate on the sub 400K purchase prices in the regions, which requires less capital. And we're making around about, on average now, 80 grand on our flips. But when we first started, our goal was not that. So people think, I'm going to have to buy in the cities, Auckland. So their mindsets are like on the cities. So you might go 700K and you might spend 100K on a reno and you sell it and say you make 100K. Your entrance point is so high. You had to put forward your 700 grand all in. And then just to make that 100, I teach the whole thing where it's like, go to the regions, bring down your capital level way down, and here is a blueprint of how I've done it. So if they like the big amounts of money in the short amount of time, that's for them.
So people that come along to the seminar, say, or get in touch with you, are they wanting to go to the regions and be there physically on the ground, or are they saying, well, I can't do that because I live in this city?
I'm like, same.
Yeah,
I'll come have coffee with you in half an hour. I live in Auckland too.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, the whole thing is just instilling them like how I've done it. And I can never talk about anything if I haven't done it myself, right? Our whole goal was to make enough money from the regions that we eventually come up to Auckland and start flipping in where the big boys are or whatever, right? But then I realized, I was like, why? We're making more than enough money here. And with interest rates where they are, like you have to think about everything. Like your pool of buyers under 600K is huge. It's way bigger than it is currently now at 7.2% interest rate testing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's making it harder for people to get access to capital, right?
Yeah, and then you've got the post-COVID, working from home, and then people are like, why don't we just go live in a nice town or a nice little, move out of the cities? Yeah.
And do most of these people, like, so you, in the first episode you told us that you did it with a business partner who's got skills in renovating properties, right? So do you teach, kind of align yourself with somebody like that? Or are you saying, hey, if you want, like, fucking try and do it all yourself, or what?
Yeah, there's a way you can do it all yourself, but it is harder. It just means you have to be very good on the buy. So that means that, like, remember, any deal is sort of a good deal at the price. Like, no one's going to turn down a house for $1. Doesn't matter what. It's got the worst meth, asbestos in the world.
Yeah.
You're buying that house for $1, especially if it comes with land, right? But you have to be like, I don't know how to deal with the tradies, and I don't know how to trust if they're doing the work. There's systems, processes, technologies now, and clear intentions. You tell them before you start the work. And obviously, if you're going to be doing this full time and you've got big goals for yourself, hopefully the tradies catch on to that. And they're like, okay, I get consistent work from this person, and who knows, maybe they'll help me get into property. Especially when it's tradies, man. They all 9 times out of 10 want to get into property.
Do they?
Of course, bro. Sparkies, the plumbers, the builders, because they're the ones that's sending the little 10, 12, 15 grand invoices, and then watching the guy make fucking 110.
Yeah. I often say to tradies, it's one of the greatest trades to get into because it's one of the most desired products in New Zealand, a finished house.
Correct.
So if you can do that shit for yourself, and over time you might work in a job, say, but you can get enough cash to buy a bit of land and then help build your own home, and then get your friend in who can do the roof, and get your mate in who can do the sparky, etc. I'm like, that is fucking what people work their entire lives to go to the bank and say, hey, can I borrow all of this to go and pay to have that done, because they don't have that skill set. And then you get to watch that appreciate and value through the devaluation of our currency, and those things become more valuable too.
Correct.
And then you can leverage against it.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I was at uni, school, it was like, you got to go to uni because you're smart enough. Well, if that's not your thing, a trade, is very, very smart, because it's not just what you get paid, it's what you can actually do with your skill set, which is actually really, really valuable in the market.
100%. I mean, there's two things that you talk about. It's like the white collar skill, and then there's the blue collar skill in property, right? You need both for those. Priority, you need the white collar.
Yeah.
Weird color to say as priority, but you you definitely need the white collar as absolute, because that's the contracts, that's the law, that's dealing with the lawyers, the conditions, clauses, all that stuff. Because technically, with some of the things I teach, the contemporaneous and things like that, there's properties I've bought and sold on the same day that I didn't have to do anything to, which required very minimal blue collar work. The blue collar work could have been like someone opening the door.
Yeah.
For the buyer. Still something physical had to have happened, but the white collar work, you can still get into property flipping, just that, with no tradies connections whatsoever.
So I'm a pretty simple dude, mate. I have no fucking idea what contemporaneous means.
Yeah.
What is that?
So contemporaneous, easiest way is like a back-to-back, same-day settlement. So that's when the absolute title changes over for ownership of the house from one person to another person on the same day. So it's something where you could have gone unconditional on a property and it settles July 31st and you got it for 500 grand and you did a lot of work and negotiation skills to get it at 500, even though it was listed on Trade Me at 580. Then all of a sudden, through the means of other strategies, you find a buyer that says, oh man, I'm pre-approved for 550. Can you find me a house that's 3-bedroom, blah, blah, blah. And you go, yes, I've got one. Depending on how you market it to that person. Say you just sent him the Trade Me link. He's seeing it for 580 and you go, here it is for 550. And he goes, oh, sweet. Yeah, I'll buy that off you. And you have to line up the sale and purchase agreements to be almost identical, besides making small changes like the price. So your price to him will be 550, right? Mm-hmm. And the settlement date will be July 31st for you, and for him it'll be July 31st. So what happens on settlement day is that the loan from the guy getting 550, the bank will contact the lawyers and be like, here are the transfer of funds. And then the lawyer will have 550 grand in their account. And they'll be like, okay, Luke, now it's time for you to buy the house. So what they would do normally is that you've got the original contract with the vendor at 500. They will take 500 of the 550 and transfer it into the original vendor's account. So they're paid, they're happy, done deal. Then there's 50 grand left over. The lawyer will be like, we're going to retain our funds of 2,000, whatever. And then they go, what is your bank account, Luke, for us to send you $48,000?
Wow.
And you're going to be like, where's the fucking bar? What time is happy hour? Doesn't matter. I've got money.
Yeah.
That's how contemporaneous works.
So that, for me, that sounds like the power of a network. Like that's putting deals together, right?
Correct.
So you need to know. And
both sides of that. Yeah. How to find the deals and then how to find the buyers. Yeah.
How many times have you been able to pull that off?
9.
Really?
And I've just confirmed 95% now that will net gross, whatever, 75 grand.
Yeah. Far out.
That's salary shit.
There's a saying, money exchanges hands when value exceeds price. So what that means is that to the first person selling, they're like, yeah, sweet. We're getting 500 G's for this, wicked. The second person's like, fuck yeah, this is still valuable to me at 550. And so the money still transacts.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
So there's that little margin there. And like, there's a quick story I always say to people when they explain this to like anyone that has no idea of property. It's like, say you're at a bar and you want to buy a Heineken and they're $10. Happy hour, whatever, right? And you give your mate the $10. He goes to the bar to go buy it, but they're actually $5 today because it's happy hour. Mm-hmm. And you go, cool. And the bartender hands him back $5. He comes back with the Heinekens and gives you yours. You got what you wanted, right?
Yeah.
To you don't care where the other 5, you don't even know. Your margin's kept in your pocket.
Yeah.
Now, in the eyes of the law, who purchased them? Like technically speaking, who paid for them? Your mate, because he gave you the 10 to go purchase them. But in the eyes of the law of the security camera, who actually bought them? You.
Yeah.
So there's things there where it's like, if you're a first home buyer, you cannot be getting into contemporaneous settlements because you actually do end up on the title, even if it's for an hour or so, and it's lodged that you or your company did purchase it in order to keep that margin. Yeah. So if you're a first home buyer, you do not do contemporaneous settlements. You do deal sourcing, where it leaves you completely out of any contract or title.
So Contemporaneous, is that what it is?
Yeah, Contemporaneous.
Okay, so that's sort of once you're down the track, right? I'd imagine you need pretty strong networks both sides there, right?
Yeah.
But then, so deal sourcing, is that sort of entry level / stage one that you would teach people?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's the no money,
So that is
no excuse. Yeah.
Luke, go out there in New Zealand and find me deals that look like X, Y, Z. Here's your checklist.
Yep.
And bring them back to me, and
Yep.
I'll tell you whether they actually are a deal.
Correct. They have to be. If you filled that checklist out, I'd buy them.
Yeah. So what I'm looking for is an undervalued property that you know through your experience and time in the market that can be sold at a profit via doing maybe some things to it, or it may just be underpriced.
It might just be underpriced. That's the easiest way, right?
Wow.
The most easiest way ever is just buying something because you made more offers than anyone, and you just got a vendor that was like, I actually don't care. I've had this property for 15 years. I've made 400 grand capital gains. I don't really give a shit if I walk with 300.
Yeah.
I just need to move to Australia to be with my daughter or whatever the hell the excuse is. And there you were, right there at the right time.
Wow. And so that framework that you teach people, do you have to modify that or refine that as things change?
Like a lot of people here is like, like someone today, they're like, you only talk about the pros and the good life and the sunny rainbows and stuff. Contemporaneous does have obviously the risk factor there because what happens is if you've gone unconditional, which you would never do until your buyer went unconditional and the contracts lined up. But what happened on July 31st, if that buyer just didn't settle for some reason. So there's certain things that you have to learn and teach people. Like this is where something goes wrong on settlement date, which means they default, which means you default. Because right, if they just don't want to settle, then you can't settle because you didn't even arrange finance. You had no money. You didn't have that 500,000 to give to the vendor.
Yeah.
You were waiting on that person. So this is the thing that people need to teach and learn, and other strategies of what happens on settlement date when shit goes wrong, because I've done, I think, more than 9. Yeah, but we've made over 300,000 from that.
So, but if I was a student of property, like say I loved property and wanted to get into this shit and I was listening to this, I would be Googling contemporaneous deals, figuring out, okay, what do I need to know? And I'd be YouTubing it, figuring out what's the downside risks and learning.
I'd skip all that and just come to my seminar.
And what does that cost?
It depends. Like the last 2 were like $2,500 a person.
Yeah.
And $3,500 for 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's to then weed out people that you know aren't actually then probably going to take action on the other side, right? Because it'd be very easy to go, right, $99 and you fill the room. And
Absolutely.
Then people go, well, but that's
like
not for me.
Anything that I'm pushing in a price, I'm screaming that shit. I don't care if I have to just like my mentorship. It was like, there's the video right there. I'm saying it's $15,000 plus GST, and I will tell everyone what, like not like book a call and you'll see. Nah, this is how much it costs.
Yeah,
and I'm very confident because all of the other mentees that have done it have made their money so far.
But then even like deal sourcing, say I'd be going away and going, okay, how can I learn more about this just to get some base level understanding? Because I'd imagine that it's easy to talk about deal sourcing, 2 words, but then there's probably tens of hours of training on that alone, right?
So one of the things is breaking down the profit versus the time invested.
Yeah.
So a deal, I always say, should net someone, or gross, whatever, 10 grand if you find a deal. That's what the end goal should be, right?
Yeah.
So you break that down, okay, on an average salary, if someone's earning 5 grand, that's 5 grand a month, that's quite a lot in New Zealand. I think that equates to maybe 90 grand or something.
Yeah.
Maybe even
60.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you say 5 grand a month?
Yeah.
Yeah. 5 times 12, 60.
Yeah.
I'll do the math, mate.
Oh, something, whatever your salary would be.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're earning 10 grand in one go, would you say that was 2 months worth of work?
Gotcha.
Yeah. So then you'd have to be like, okay, that's 8 times 4 is 160, 8, 4, whatever. 32 times 2 is 640 hours then?
You've lost me, but anyway.
Whatever the hourly rate to break down making 10 grand, and then you're going to be like, cool, your first deal will obviously take the longest. Mm-hmm. Second deal, then compound knowledge will take in, connections, the same agents you talk to, the more phone calls you've made, then agents might start bringing you deals, which shortens your time frame, which is where I'm at now, where I don't really look at deals anymore because they just get sent to me. Yeah. And only when I do my mentorships that I sit down and go over everything on my laptop for hours and hours and hours and hours. And I find new deals. I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. But yeah, the deal sourcing comes down to, if you learn the skill, it'll take this amount of time and you'll earn this amount of money. Is that worth it to you? Yeah. Of course it is, because it beats anything else.
And then as you refine it, it's then, like you say, going to get condensed down. I understand what you're saying. Basically, you were saying expect that you're going to get a low dollar per hour value output because it's going to take you a lot of time to start with. But as you do more, they'll all speed up and you'll start
and
realizing,
you'll try and earn more than 10.
Yeah.
You'll find extra juicy deals, but now I want 20.
Yeah.
And you'll build that into the price where the numbers work and the person goes, yeah, I don't care what you want to make. If this ticks the checklist, all good.
Starts to blow your thermostat of, wow, what is actually possible to earn in a day or in a week or in a month. Yeah.
Also, I had no idea how trash I was at maths just then.
Yeah, that's all right, mate. We've all got work-ons. Okay, so we've got deal sourcing as well, and then what else? Like because it sounds like to me there's a fucking stack load of ways you can make money out of property.
Yeah, so
it's not just Kiwis buy and hold.
Nah, the deal sourcing is one of them. Then you go into contemporaneous eventually when you can just do same day settlement. It's the best return on investment sort of required because you're not settling on the property.
Yeah.
So you're just earning the profit in the middle. Then there's joint ventures. So that's another one.
Yeah.
So a JV is where you might have learned the skill of project managing, finding the deal, and then you go, nah, instead of this 10 grand, I want to try and earn more. So I need to find someone that can fund this, and I'm going to show them what you'd normally show anyone for a deal source anyway is like, this is a good deal because of X, Y, Z. If we on-sold it to someone else, I could make 10, but if we settle on it, do the renovations, here is the sales data. I think there's roughly around 90 grand profit in here safely. You JV partner, it could be your mum, it could be your friend's dad, it could be anyone, that you might work with. And you go, we can do a profit split. And when you're first starting, you take a small one.
Yeah.
You go, let's go 80-20 on 90 grand, which equates to, don't ask me.
Yeah. What, you only get 20%, they get the 80?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I mean, you can that's depending on anyone. You can do 50-50, you can do whatever, but that's a way for you to get started. Again, other people's money, the biggest shortcut, the key. And you're learning skills. You're learning trading connections. And then eventually you do two of those, maybe it's 70-30, and now you've got enough for a full deposit to buy a house. And now you're in control, and then or you can just keep doing JVs.
Yeah. And then do people sort of eventually graduate to, sweet, I'm going to then move some profits that I'm making on the flipping side into wealth creation, buying and holding?
Correct. That is absolutely, which is what we've done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. And then basically building a rental unit. How do you deal with, because I've seen one video on TikTok, but I'd imagine you get this a bit where people are like, oh, you're just then making it fucking harder for everyone else. And
I love those comments.
Yeah, I can't even remember what they were saying, but basically that sort of classic negative New Zealand.
Tall poppy, can't understand it.
Yeah.
So what is it? They're just saying, oh, you're making it hard for everyone else.
Yeah, I think you were doing a story in front of a house where you made X amount.
Yeah. 70 grand Contemporaneous.
Okay,
Yep, that's the money. That's the big time money, right?
So that must be great engaging content because it's going to fuck off 50% of people, probably even 80.
90.
Yeah. Because they're like, what the fuck? Like, it's taken me a year or more.
I watched it and it pissed me off because I was like, why the fuck is my shirt not ironed? Jesus Christ. But yeah.
Yeah, so you're basically saying, I made X, Y, Z in one day and people are going to be like, you asshole.
Melt my brain, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And it should. It should either, I said, it's like, this should make you angry. I don't care what it does, but it should, at the end game, try and make money or learn how the fuck this dude did this. So, yeah, they will always get angry. You cannot please everyone. But they just have to realize, I mean, that's why I try and be as relatable as I sort of can in the videos. I grew up in a podaki.
Yeah.
I was on the top of the Hilux last week on the New Zealand Herald, if you saw me. No, I'm not in the gangs there. But yeah, I'm from a podaki, relatable person, didn't go to uni, just learnt it by doing it. And I say to people like, you don't need any qualifications to get into this, and you just need to be open. Like, it's just property in New Zealand. As long as you're a New Zealand citizen, Australia and Singapore, you can buy here and, get started.
So what else then do you, I'll finish on that. So you've learned maybe through some of the comedy stuff as well, just to be like, it's water off a duck's back?
Oh, like having thick skin for comments?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, in a social media game, it helps with engagement. Yeah. Especially when you get them arguing in there. The algorithm doesn't know what the context of the words are. They just think, oh, comment, add 101001, so it helps. So you can just, throw more fuel on the fire if you want. Yeah. Get the engagement going. And the haters there, it's just, sad to see, like, Gary Vee talks about it, there's been haters online for so long, and they'll continue to be there. So it doesn't faze me at all. Nah.
Nice. Okay. So what else do you teach people?
So another key thing at the seminars is the negotiation skills. That is one of the main things, because the white collar stuff, as I was saying, is majority of the most importance, because my blue collar skills, which is the actual physical work, is dirt trash. I have no idea how to use any power tools. I have no idea how to fucking do nearly anything physical with my hands besides a laptop and my phone. But the negotiation skills, how to talk to agents, property managers, even vendors directly, how to talk to buyers, how to talk to investors, how to talk to your parents regarding putting out equity, how to talk... and then negotiation skills comes into like the buy and then the sale. So the sales process, marketing, all that types of stuff, right? Even writing the descriptions on thing. People are, I'll just chat GPT that. It's like, you'll fucking lose against me every time if you're trying that shit.
Yeah.
You need to custom make each message and put yourself in the eyes of the buyer, know the area. Chat GPT ain't going to beat you on that yet, maybe, once Skynet opens up. But that's the other main thing that I teach, which is the negotiation skills. Yeah.
Interestingly, someone asked me, what do you think of this guy? And I said, I'm going to be honest, I don't really know much about him. I mean, this is what these podcasts are about. But they were like, I'm always skeptical of anyone selling a course or a seminar. And I said, well, I get that, especially as Kiwis, not very big here. However, I said, for me personally, I've brought a course where I learned, I don't want to do this. And it was worth its weight in gold because it made me refocus on what I was doing. So I was sort of like, shiny object, I could create an e-commerce business. This looks piss on the side. Got into it and was like, oh man, this is like a lot of work. And that time needs to be focused over here with the stuff that I know is already working. Luke, write that one off.
Yeah, so that money spent still created action for benefit.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And I said, if you can get close to someone that's done things repetitively and they've got skin in the game, they've got experience and they've got wins, and that's what it cost for you to get close to them to actually have the confidence that then it's possible for you, or you can get that experience, then how is it, how is it not that you'd want to go and pay to do that? The funny thing is Kiwis will go, I might go to uni. And you're like, fucking hell, you're going to pay 40 grand for a course.
I know. For a fucking course.
It's interest free. You know why it's interest free? Because it's not that valuable.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and but we'll see. Yeah, but in America, you go to America and there's fucking courses for everything. I paid for a course recently to learn how to stand up a Zoom webinar quickly, and I was like, okay, these guys specialize in this. It's $49 American. At least I won't fuck it up. Bang, I'll pay for it and learn how to do it. And I was like, oh man, there was 8 things in there that I wouldn't have thought of. Yeah, brilliant. That's heaps valuable. But I think Kiwis are like, I don't know about paying for education unless it's from a university.
Yeah, it's so weird. And that's the whole thing with a guru, that whole word comes into, right? Where people are like, just another guru talking about this. And even property seminars and stuff in New Zealand, I don't know how saturated it is. All I know is that we've had over 100 people come to my seminars now. Not one person has asked for a refund. Not one of them has not raved about how awesome it was. That's why I film the testimonials. I do the screenshots. I have nothing to hide on that shit. And then the main thing is you're just paying for speed. When you do a course, you're just paying to know something fucking now.
That's it.
That's the main thing. People don't wrap their hand. They're like, I'd rather do the freeway and take fucking 8 months and make a mistake and ruin my whole life. Especially when you get into the big ticket items, right?
Yeah. I think that's a good way to put it. You're basically paying to speed up your journey.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what is the process as such, summarized as to go and source a deal and then do it yourself for the first time?
You're not going to settle on it. You're just going to renovate. You're not going to renovate or do anything.
You basically, your goal for a year is, let's say a year, you just want to do one flip and make 30K. What would your advice be or suggestion if that was your goal?
If I was to stress this out to all my students, I'd be like, go find this deal. Here's the checklist. Here's the script on what to say to agents. Here is the lawyer I would recommend. Here is the accountant I'd recommend. Set up your company, do this, and then make offers. Once you've got it under contract, get me involved. I'll review your contract. Then you've got it, say, for a good price. Then I'd be like, let's try and sell this on contemporaneously without you doing anything.
Yeah.
Safest, easiest way. And they might be like, okay. Because it comes down to are you doing it to learn? You want to do the renos to learn, or do you just want to fucking get money?
Yeah.
Because if it's that one, I did it with a mentee, and I'll do the video soon. He's made $25,000 in a Contemporaneous deal 3 days after my mentorship.
Wow.
Yeah, he found the deal on the mentorship day, and then obviously his due diligence, it happens. And then what's happened is I obviously knew someone that wanted a really good buy and hold in this town in Wanganui, and I said, you should just, I know a buyer. So I linked them up, and he's clipped 25K.
Sweet.
Yeah, so that's his entire mentorship paid for in fucking 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think, do people then realise, I don't actually need to do the flipping piece because there's other ways to make cash?
Oh, it's like, again, I cannot say anything that I haven't done myself. And our Contemporaneous is right now, as it stands, over 300,000, right? Which will grow to like 500,000 by the end of the year, probably, because 70K is already sort of banked, right? That is like what I would teach to them, where it's like you have to be a flipper because it's still flipping, it's still trading. But what people need to know is there's other ways to flip or trade without just doing the whole Mitre 10 dream home shit.
Yeah.
I need to get the materials and go and break open the wall. And it's like, you don't have to do any of that.
Yeah.
You can just do less and make less, but get it done, sign, seal, deliver, safer.
Do people freak out a bit when they realise they've got to pay tax on these profits?
I know, and they ask me in the comments, like, oh, yeah, but do you have to pay tax? It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Jesus, like, what country are you living at?
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
think that anything we're doing in life isn't taxed.
Yeah.
Of course you have to make tax. And that's why I said to one person, like the villa we're doing, it's like got an estimate of like maybe 150 grand profit. That's a big one. That's like, we bought that. I've got access to renovate that for 70 days, settlements in like 3 weeks' time. That's about 150 grand. And someone goes, oh, but you still got to pay, no, it's 200, sorry. It's 200K. And they go, oh, you still have to pay tax on that. And I said, well, just take 50% away and tell me that you aren't happy with 100,000 in 3 months.
Yeah.
Of course, you just tax everything. In my head, I know, GST and there's whatever company tax rate, you transfer into my personal, it'll be fucking 39% probably. Everything I own is like half.
Gone,
half gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
smart. It's a good way to set your mind up to understand, okay, like this isn't mine. But I think naturally it's a tough change for people going from employment into doing business deals or flipping stuff because they look at the figure, the profit, and think, fuck, I'm going to make that amount of money.
It's like, why'd you sign up your salary at 90 grand a year?
Yeah.
You're getting taxed on that, right? But what about the tax? It's like every single thing is getting taxed. But the one thing about having a flipping company or just being a business owner is you can write off things. You can never write off your PAYE.
No.
That shit is finalized, taken on the spot.
Yeah. So there's expenses that you can claim because you've
Correct.
been traveling around. You've been meeting with
having
people,
fun, you know?
Yeah, your phone bill, internet, etc. So now 48 deals in less than 2 years. By the time this goes out, you probably
2
would have
years.
done 50.
2 years. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So 2 years?
2
roughly
years, April, May, June. 2 years, 2 months.
Awesome. So 50 deals. What's biggest mistakes in that time?
Biggest mistakes that we've made, because this is the main thing. I'm sorry, I didn't say the other one. We've never lost money.
Yeah.
We've never lost money on any deal. The least money that we've ever made was 6 grand. And that was because we bought on the worst street in Gisborne, which was Munro Street. There's a lot of cheap deals if people went on trade. Oh, I know that street. That's like shot up BMWs, houses on fire. And I thought I found a multi-unit deal that I was like, nah, this is good enough. This is good enough. But you cannot change the unchangeables. That is the main thing. So location is key. Because you have to, and you trust the words of the agent sometimes. You listen out to more stories. The small meta things I teach, we get in the car, taxi to the house. I'm fucking spam asking the taxi driver, like, yo, what's the market like here? What's the streets that we should stay away from? What's the good area? If you won lotto and you had to stay here in Gisborne, where would you live? Oh, fuck, I'll be living out in blah, 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 blah. And like, oh, okay, that's the market, right? You know? So you're asking all those small details. And location's key. Knowing that you cannot change the unchangeables, where we talked about the stigma behind certain houses, and that's probably the main things that can screw up a flip. Obviously, there's the things where the market changes and you didn't buy well below market value. So the main thing I say is like we buy below market value. So like a house is worth 400 grand and below market value is like 375. We're trying to get in there at like 340, something like that, right?
Wow. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And so have you had to teach yourself to strip out some of those emotions and to make it really transactional when you're doing these deals? Because most people would buy a property and they would be coming from an emotional state.
Correct.
And I nearly did this. I nearly bought a place. I was keen on this place. small town. It was next to a KFC, a Z station.
Yeah.
With fucking Fonterra trucks going past. The lawyer is like, mate, are you serious?
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck do you think's going to want to buy this after you? I'm like, it seems like a nice place compared to the other ones I've looked at. It's pretty close to KFC. They're like, please do not buy this.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a good idea. And I'm like, what's wrong with it? It seems like a great place. And they're like, go and stand outside that KFC till 10 p.m. on a Saturday or whatever.
And see.
And then go and stand and wait for those Fonterra trucks to go past and feel the road shaking.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I didn't even think of any of that stuff. But a transactional mind from a lawyer was just like, mate, we're trying to help you here.
Yeah.
And I think naturally most of us, when it comes to property, are thinking emotionally.
Yeah,
And
that's the main thing. You know, that's why I do those things where people shit themselves in property and it holds them back and they just don't end up doing anything. Or they're like, nah, I did the '08. I'm old enough to know what happened in the recession and blah, blah. And my key sentence is like, or they think, the market's going to keep going down and stuff. It's like, it's been going down. We've done 48. We've never lost money because of the methods we do. And at the end of the day, thousands of people in New Zealand will be making millions of dollars in property and you can't even make 30 to 50?
Yeah.
Like, where do you stand on that? Do you not, like, that's why I start my seminar is this fucking first slide and it says, can we all agree that regardless whether we go and just sit in the toilet for the next 8 hours or just eat lunch and do nothing, there's going to be hundreds of people, thousands maybe, making millions in property in New Zealand for the next 8 months, a year? Will there be? And people might be like, maybe. It's like, yes, they will be. So why can't I teach you guys how to make 30 to 50?
Go in and
That's the main thing. So just lower the expectations. Don't go into the whole, we need to make a 100K flip or it's not even worth it.
Yeah.
It's like, you just got to teach them on the ROI and how long shit actually can be done fast. You don't have to do the whole big exorbitant. And also get a good lawyer. In property, of course, shitting yourself. If you don't have a good lawyer that needs to know ins and outs on property and efficient and knows what to do when things are going wrong, they're the ones obviously worth their weight in gold. So with property, when it comes to having a partner, even doing it well enough, no blue collars, builders, whatever, you can do it without any tradie. You can do it without a broker. The one person you can never do anything in property is a lawyer. Legally, like for AML, the money has to go through their account for you to get paid. But out of every other professional, the accountants and stuff, you do eventually, but people can do their own accounting, not to put you out of business, but fucking I'll run mine to the ground if I had to do anything with numbers. But it's the lawyer is the number one person. Then everyone else comes second to them in the professional qualified settings.
Yeah. Okay. So and that's part of building a strong team, right?
Yeah. The lawyer's definitely the one.
Okay. And then can you get to the stage where you do some of the legal stuff yourself? Like you must build up.
Well, I do my own sale and purchase agreements. So when I do my own contemporaneous, I draw up my sale and purchase agreements, and I teach people at my seminar how to do that themselves. So if they wanted to do a contemporaneous, this is how you should be doing it. This is like how you should be doing it. But I normally, to the point, that's just like you trying to save some money.
Yeah.
Eventually now it's like, it's not worth the time. Just fucking pay my lawyer here.
And what about, I had someone say to me, ask him about whether he's worried people are going to cut his lunch. Like he's just training up people to kick his own ass. He's training up his own competitors.
They won't. They won't beat me.
Yeah.
Nah. I already joke about this at the seminars. One of them is even on video. He's like, bro, I'm going to fucking beat you. I'm like, nah, you ain't. Straight away, cut it down. Ha, joke. You ain't going to beat me.
Yeah.
I'm training you guys up. Eventually, it's to the point where they will just be like, I just want to work with you. I ain't going to try and beat you. Because you have to be a certain type of person where if you're an asshole with them in real life, they're like, fuck that dude. I actually will try and beat him. But eventually when they all meet me at the seminars and we go through the mentorships or whatever, they all just continuously want to keep working with me, which is great because, I am just motivated to help them, make money. But when it comes to that thing, it's like, what, were you guys faster than me in finding that deal?
Yeah, I think, is it partly as well an abundance mentality versus scarcity where there's so many deals out there? There's, not.
Correct. That's the other thing. It's like, man, how many people can you train?
Yeah.
1,000? Do you know how many houses there are in one block?
Yeah.
Like, you know, we flew over Auckland the other day and we're just looking at a block of fucking houses. We're like, Jesus Christ.
It's big.
It's like you can never underestimate how much people there actually is, how many houses there actually are.
Yeah.
There is so many deals out there, and the same deal will be for sale next year when that person can't pay their mortgage, or there's the same house you guys fought for last year. It's on the fucking market again.
Yeah.
It'll consistently sell. There's no limit on how much a house can sell. That's why the whole Contemporaneous is like, some houses sell 4 times in one day, the same house.
Wow, really?
Mental. So we did that example. You got it for 500, you sold 550. Maybe he sold to someone else for 575, and they sold to someone else for 600. And all you guys did not know what you guys were sitting on, and that person sold it for fucking 800 because you guys didn't do your checks on the development potential or knew that the government were doing this in XYZ area, and that dude made. But there was 4 sales on the same day.
When people come to seminars that you run, what is the one thing that a lot of them leave and go, fuck, that was my takeaway?
The free lunch.
The free lunch.
It's literally the no excuse. This is how you move your hands and click things and do things and make the calls and read these words out. It is not it's not really the mindset fluff. I do that with my videos. I do that enough. You're in the fucking room, you're motivated enough because you're watching my shit.
And you've paid to be there.
You're paid to be here. And here's the actual physical stuff. So the slides are like, do this, go to this website, set this up, then download this, then call this person and set up your account here. And then now this is now training on how to look for deals on TradeMe. This is how to fill out a sale and purchase agreement. These are the clauses that you copy and paste. Everyone got their laptop? Pause. Download it onto your desktops. I want to see your guys' clauses ready to go. Sweet. Action, 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 action. So there's no fucking excuses.
It's just all practical.
It's like, can you open your phone and go to settings?
Yeah.
Do you know how to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same shit. Can you draw up an offer if I sent it to your inbox? Yeah. How long will it take you? 7 minutes. So that's how fast it needs to be.
So they leave feeling empowered that they've got everything that they need.
Everything. The seminar is created that you have to have everything you need to start. And that's why 25, 35, 45, 50, $50,000 has been made from my students since January from them doing stuff.
Yeah.
And like they were all taught the same. So the ones that chose to go off and just fucking hustle got it done. And the others are like, maybe not hustling, but they're just like waiting for their time or balancing. They've still got the knowledge, and then when they decide to do something, you know, they're there.
What brings you more fulfillment? Seeing one of your students be mind blown by pulling a deal off, or doing your own deal still? Tough question.
It'd be both, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, definitely that, because. Right, and I tell the honest truth about that when it comes to the mentees and shit. I'm like, I want you guys to succeed, because back to that question, the happiness, and it's like, nah, I'm just always trying to monetize. Yeah. I want you guys to make fucking money from this so I can scream about it to everyone else and monetize more people. And the only way I can do that is from you guys to be successful.
Yeah.
So there's that whole thing where the other gurus might be like, nah, it's just the thing. I've always wanted to teach people and all, you know. Teaching people is a product of me being very good at what I do. And there's just another cash roll type business opportunity there. But then when I'm actually in the room with them, it does change. When I'm like seeing like the conversations with their wife have hopes now, where they're like the Napier one I did is like, when do you think you're going to buy your first home? He's like, I don't know. And I was like, cool. Asked him like 3 questions. I'm like, March next year.
Yeah.
Literally. I was like, really? I was like, absolute gun to the fucking head, March next year. Because I asked him, like, when's your lease finishing here? He's like, I'm renting March. I'm like, done, March.
Yeah.
If he said, next month, I'd be like, okay, sweet, that's a bit hard.
Yeah.
But March, ample enough time.
Wicked.
And he's only got 50 grand.
So it's obviously going to be life-changing for them.
Yeah, it would be. Because I'm like, sweet, I'm going to part you up with a JV person. You're going to use that 50 to fund the renos. You're going to clip a 20 grand ticket from that. Yeah. And then we're going to try and do 2 of those. So you're going to be sitting on 90,000. Then we're going to go and buy a 20% deposit on a house that might be worth 450 or something. I don't know the maths. I wrote it down. And then I'm like, there's your first home. There it is right there. And they were like, they're like, we were going to get a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom. And I told them, I was like, nah, you guys are going to go with a nice 2-bedroom that's got a certain floor size. You guys can turn to a 3-bedroom. But you're going to secure it for this price, and you're going to fucking buy it by March. Yeah. And they're like, yep, done.
Wow.
like the no excuse strategy. If you know what you're doing, here it is.
Painting out their future.
Yeah.
How has this changed you and your beliefs over this last couple of years?
With like the housing market?
No, just in general, like you going through this process, how do you think it's changed you and maybe even just the way that you see money or just what you see as possible in New Zealand? Like,
Well, you got to be like impressed with that number. Like when I explain to people, it's like, it sounds bullshit. It's to the point where I might as well just say, hey man, I've flipped fucking 20 houses in the last 2 years. They're going to be like, what? 10 a year? Yeah, that's heaps, man. But then I say 50 and you just sound like a con artist.
Yeah, one a fortnight.
Scam, you know, fuck, oh yeah, that's the maths, one a fortnight. So it has been good, and it has been awesome to also, like, you know, the other business partner who's been with me since day one to instill the fact, like, all the shit we've been through. And again, he does the blue collar work, which is the actual long hours, time away from family and all that type of stuff, to be like, hey, stick around, have faith, this will pay off massively for you. And then the other small people that are part of the team as well. Yeah. It's the fact. And I always said, I was like, I will not stop. Always, forever. It'll just be always trying to earn money, entrepreneurial. And I would hate always to have you exit for some reason and say, come back years time. And I have to say, I fucking told you. That's my worst thing. I'm like, it will happen. There's no way it can't.
Can people check if they think you're full of shit? Can they find out online, you know, how many times?
Yep, I'll do it. I always vet myself. I'm like, I say 50 property purchases, but some of them are 2 houses, 1 title, but it's still 2 houses that you had to have purchased, 1 title. So someone would be like, oh, let's look up his company. Let's look at the fucking register of how many houses he actually bought. Bullshit. He's only bought 33 or whatever it might be, or 38 or 40. I don't know. But that's why I say it's 50 houses, purchases. It's still, once you're over 30, who gives a shit, right? You know, in 2 years. There's that way, and there's also the fact where it's like, where's the other social proof of anyone that's come to the seminar and they're being like, nah, didn't learn anything, this is bullshit. Where's that? Post it. You can't hide comments on Insta. You can only delete them, which means that if they've done something like that, negative, and you go to delete it, they will know it's been deleted. So then they go, ooh, this guy's fucking scared. He knows I'm onto him. So then they might blow it up on their stories or whatever the hell. Nothing's happened like that. So I know I can vet myself more. Like, I'm devil's advocate on my shit all the time, bro.
Yeah, good man. Because I'd imagine there'll be people that will be skeptical. It's just Kiwis' nature and humans, right? Because we're like, oh, you know, this seems too far-fetched for me.
And then there's things where they just choose what to post and stuff like that. Like, I would post about losing money on a property, but we never have. So how can I post about that?
So what will that do for your identity if that happens? Like, you'll own it and post it and be like, fuck it, this is what it is?
Yeah, there had to have been a really cool story about how we lost money on that. and I'd turn it in a way, everything I'd be like, how do I monetize this? How do I fucking use this to instill more confidence in what we do? But I don't know how that would happen. I'd have to be like fucking hospitalized or something, and I just didn't have my phone on me. Everything is powered by the phone, bro. Yeah, but I don't know. We would have broken one of the main rules that we have on buying the property, below market value, planning stuff, having an exit plan. Got greedy. It's probably because we got greedy.
Okay. So if someone is keen to get into making money out of property, and you could give them one piece of advice and it does not come to your seminar.
Oh, yep.
Sorry.
Yeah, nice.
What would it be?
Follow me on Instagram.
Very smart.
No, like, it would be like, understand the key fundamentals if it's property. It is the safest, arguably, asterisk, investment since the dawn of time. It has created more millionaires than any other investment strategy. You can leverage off it. You can insure it. You can touch it. You can live in it. It is a thing that will continuously be required from human beings till the end of time. And like, you already know 5 to 10 people that have made millions from it. Everyone would. Their grandparents, capital gains, or whatever, right? That's the main thing. Just understand the actual thing. I'm not sitting here talking about fucking crypto. You know, it's something that you can physically get. And I do videos on it where it's like, you build physical relationships with other people, and it helps you in life also. It helps you in negotiation, it helps you be a better person, talking to tradies or, you know, one-on-one. And yeah, it's not like stock trading where you're just fucking 2 screens, 3 screens all day, 8 hours. You can make so much more money, but it's like you're just 4 walls how fun is that? Obviously, you got the Lambo and the fucking mansion, all that stuff, but your life skills of how to talk to people is trash. And then you're this really rich guy, and there's someone else that's way more characteristic at the same party as you, but you're the one with the fattest fucking wallet, but everyone's talking to that dude. Ego, sad. So you just got to take the wins and how to structure it to be what you want.
What you're saying is you're going to learn more than just how to make it.
Yeah, it's not just the whole like property stuff.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
Wicked. All right, mate. Well, thank you for giving up some time because, I mean, you've been in here for a while now, and I'd imagine you probably could have done 46 deals in that time. So.
Well, I did make an offer on the drive here, and they text me during this saying it's accepted. So, again, strategy, have efficiency, tools of the trade.
Smart.
Yep.
Yeah. Well done. Well, it's been interesting to dive into what you've been up to and to get some understanding of what you've got coming up. I'm sure I'll be keeping an eye out. I'm keen to see where you get to. Where's this property from on your Instagram?
That's in Wanganui.
Wanganui, what a spot.
Yeah.
I lived down the road for some time. But anyway, at Tama Singh, if people want to follow along on Instagram,
Yep.
You've got a seminar coming up in August.
August the 5th.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's going to be a limited spots one. It might be the last one of the year. And I'm going to be fucking pulling out all the nines, all the strategies, all the tips and tricks to grow my brand. It's going to be huge value.
Yeah. Good on you. All right, mate. Well, all the best for your journey. And I'm sure we'll be able to do a check-in at some stage and see how you're getting on too.
Absolutely. And also, well done to you. Thank you for getting me on this. Excellent presentation. And I know you said you did no homework, but hey, it's good. So everyone, big fan of yours, and hopefully the momentum picks up for you as well with your brand.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Cool.